All right, folks, hello and welcome. May 21st, 2023, and we have a Sunday session. I appreciate all of you guys. God bless you. Thank you for joining me. Now, yesterday we did the interview with Casino Coin building on the XRP Ledger. If you missed that one, you can go back and watch that one. We got a couple more interviews on the way. Excited to make some appearances on some other shows. And stay tuned because we got some new stuff coming that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. So, with that being said, if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. We appreciate when you smash the thumbs up and share this content far and wide. A Sunday session that I'm really looking forward to. What we have, folks, is a smoking gun, right? We have multiple pieces of evidence here that are going to be exposed in this Ripple versus SEC lawsuit that completely exposes the three-letter agency known as the SEC. But we're going to expand out on the broader impact and what this means, exposing the corruption here in the United States of America, where thank God we still have somewhat of a rule of law. Very important. Now, with that being said, I started out this Sunday by spending a few hours in the garden with my daughter. What a blessing. So incredible and amazing. I mean, she's making a mess just as fast as I can clean it up and plant a little flower. She's throwing dirt out the other side of the pot. But what a joy. And just to take a moment to turn off Twitter, to turn off YouTube, to just get outside for a few hours, and nothing in the world mattered around us besides just that moment being with my daughter. And I just wanted to advise everybody, not to give you financial advice, but to give you a little life advice. Sometimes it's good to turn off the Twitter, turn off the social media, and go enjoy the real world. So with that being said, I had a beautiful morning with my daughter. Here we are for a Sunday session that's going to be jam-packed with a full update for you guys. Really appreciate everyone who's tuning in on the regular basis, and we got a lot of good stuff coming for you. So with that being said, it's all at my website, ZachRector.com. Let's get into it, folks. So the market, we're trading at $26,875 for your Bitcoin, $18.09 for your Ethereum, and XRP is at 46 cents. Let's take a look at the sticks here, folks. Check it out. So we're chopping sideways. Nothing interesting really going on for me. I'm waiting for my next trade, watching this setup. And right now, 26,800 is where we're hanging out. We did go down. Remember, I called it out back in April. I asked, are we going to go back below 25K? We didn't quite go below 25K, but we did 25,800. Okay. And so now we're just up here in this range, trading sideways. It's been kind of boring, kind of choppy, and I am not trading this market at the time of this recording. So with that being said, let's get into it. Jim Rickards, current update, World War III situation. Check it out. He says, do these fools sitting in Japan realize that Ukraine just lost the largest European land battle since the end of World War II? Bakhmut has fallen. Now, this is President Biden meeting with President Zelensky of Ukraine at the G7 summit on Sunday. Biden announced a new $375 million arms package for Ukraine and said that Western allies will not waver in their support. So what just happened, folks, is the Bakhmut region of Ukraine has fallen to the Russians. That did take place. And we have both Zelensky and Joe meeting in Japan with the G7, acting like their program's working out. You guys know the question we'd ask. We just keep it simple. Is it working out? Are you winning or are you losing? And the region is lost. Now, this doesn't mean that we're happy to see this war taking place and one side win. Both sides are getting caught up in something that's nasty, without a doubt. And we just continue to pray that this situation comes to peace. But with that being said, another $375 million from a country that's about to default on the national debt. And I'm about to show you guys the update on the default debt drama that we have ensuing. But you have two guys over here that are an embarrassment to both their countries, in my opinion. That's not political. That's called losing. It's called failing. And when we ask how's the program working out, we know how it's going. And that's from both sides. And you got operations. Schemes and operations, deals with the devil that I can't even talk about. We can't go into the details, but you know what I'm talking about when we're talking about Joe Biden, the family, and what's going on over in Ukraine as well, a situation that's been unfolding here for well over a year. We can continue to pray that it comes to an end here shortly. But once again here, folks, we're sending off another $375 million, I guess, but apparently we're still losing regions out there. So we're going to keep you updated on this situation. Like I said, we want peace. I don't like having to cover this situation, but, World War III, we're on the verge of it, and we got a guy who's completely asleep at the wheel guiding our country, and I'm going to hold back my opinion on the other one. But with that being said, Speaker of House McCarthy says that Biden wants to default more than wanting a deal. A few days ago, a deal on the debt ceiling was expected to be made by the end of the week. Suddenly, negotiations are moving backwards, and the U.S. is about 10 days away from a potential default. Yesterday, President Biden said that the stock market would fall 45% if the U.S. defaults. The debt ceiling games continue. This is shared by the XRP Ledger, and that is right. What we're seeing, McCarthy says Biden's position in debt limit talks has shifted. Seems that Biden wants to default more than wants a deal. McHenry says that there's no plans for debt negotiations to meet at this time. McHenry says he is pessimistic on the state of the debt talks. So whether you like these guys or not, I mean, what's happening? Ukraine's losing regions over there, and he's off in Japan doing his meetings. Our president, right, we're about to default. Apparently we've shifted and we no longer want to negotiate. And I'm about to show you the next clip of him addressing the crypto bros. And he's off in Japan meeting with the G7 as well. And they're, like I said, they're acting like their program's working out, and it's a complete failure and it's a complete joke. Now listen in on what Joe Biden had to say here, folks. This is our president, Mr. Joe Biden, speaking at the G7. Check it out.
I'm not going to agree to a deal that protects wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders while putting food assistance at risk for nearly 1 million Americans. That protects wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders.
Wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders. And so apparently Joe Biden has a plan for it. Let's see what he has to say here. Mega House Republicans are threatening a default that could cost us millions of jobs and trigger a recession, all because they are demanding deep cuts that will hurt hardworking families, even while they protect tax breaks for the wealthy and corporations. I've got a plan to continue reducing the deficit, if only they would listen. Let's take a look here. President Biden's plan to reduce the deficit by $3 trillion. I'm going to give you guys my live reaction to this as I read it off. Cut handouts to Big Pharma, $200 billion. Little too late after we've let Big Pharma get everything they wanted and more, including creating lifetime patients and customers. And I'm just going to leave my comments at that. But yes, let's cut handouts to the Big Pharma while we eliminate tax subsidies for oil and gas. How's that program working out for Europe, right? The energy that actually works, that's efficient, that's cheap, that the world is running on currently, and there's no plan to replace it currently that would actually work. This is a process that's underway, but to eliminate the tax subsidies for what's actually energizing our economy, our world, your house, your car, everything that goes into our lives is only going to increase. You think inflation's bad now? You just wait. Eliminate real estate loopholes. Same thing. When you eliminate the tax loopholes and the reasons why people invest in real estate, you think the price of housing's expensive now? You think that there's a shortage of housing now? Just wait until you eliminate these tax loopholes that he calls them, when it's their own tax code. We're playing by your rules. And if you change the incentives, everybody else is going to change and move as well. Eliminate cryptocurrency trading tax loopholes. I don't even know what this means. Crypto is traded and taxed the same way as every other asset. When you go to your tax advisor, it's the same thing as if you're trading a stock or property. You're going to pay capital gains on your short-term trades. You're going to pay long-term capital gains on your long-term trades. It's pretty simple, actually. So I don't know what cryptocurrency trading tax loopholes he's talking about. We know that they want the ability to backdoor your ledger. They don't want you to self-custody. They want to watch and track and be able to trace everything that you're doing. Now, as far as raising revenue, impose a billionaire minimum tax. So once again, you're just going to have the money flee this country. It's very simple. It's not going to stick around and give it to Joe. Raise the top income tax rate. Also will fail, right? Once again, the money will just move. People will shift it, and it's very easily done. Okay. Tax stock buyback. So if you have a legitimate company and you want to buy back and invest in your company, you're going to get taxed to do that, to invest in good companies. Are there bad actors and corporations that have been buying back their stocks after they've been getting bailed out? Absolutely. That's bad. That's not good. but we can watch that, right? But for those of us who are just regular folks and people that are going to build out businesses, maybe eventually you're going to dream big and go public, and you're trying to invest back in your company doing stock buybacks, you're going to get a heavier tax. So it just removes, once again, the incentives to grow this economy, to actually build businesses that are successful. Raise taxes on large corporations, once again. Impose a global minimum tax. And all of this is supposed to equal $3 trillion to reduce the deficit, cut spending, and raise revenue. Quite a plan. And once again, is he stupid? Is he alive? I don't know what I'm looking at. I can't even tell what I'm watching. But I'll tell you that the program's not working out, and the plan and the agenda that, if they get their way, squeezes the middle class and poor of America to a level that they'll never be able to get out of. It puts the shackles on people that are going to keep them there for the decades to come. And that sounds brutal, that sounds harsh, but I'm telling you right now, folks, it is reality. And so, once again, we're fighting in America here. We have a corrupt president, White House administration that's completely compromised, along with most of Congress that's completely compromised. And like I always say, this is not political, right? We are Americans who just want to maintain an opportunity for our children here in this country. Now, if I wasn't having children here and wanting to fix this country, if I was just going to flee, then that would be different. I would just call it quits. I would say, okay, they got America. The communists won. I'm out of here. But that's not how I'm going to bend over and roll out, and I'm not going to quit on that. And I have children that I am going to raise in this land, and I have an opportunity that I want to continue to expand and grow for the generations to come, not just my children, your children, not just for me, but for you, not just my family, your family as well, not just my community and church, your community and church. Let's get this done together. And a plan like this that reduces the incentive to invest in real estate, invest in businesses, to be successful, to produce value, kills our economy. It kills the real jobs. Now, we're already popped the bubble and the fat is getting cut off. But what this does is fundamentally change it to a quasi-socialist state, to where there's going to be no incentive to have a successful business. There'll be no incentive to invest in real estate, to build out affordable housing. There will be no incentive, or at least what made it more incentivized, right? But once again, this is going to bring us back into a recession that is going to be on the verge of a depression. We're going to see how bad it gets. We have prepared for the worst. We're praying for something better, and we continue to take action on a daily basis because we understand that these people aren't stupid. They are not our friend. The agenda is to kill us. The Federal Reserve is trying to rug pull the economy. They are popping the everything bubble. They know what's coming. They know what's going to happen. Their friends at the big Wall Street banks get to eat everything up. The BlackRocks, the JP Morgans get to just to pillage, and I'm going to be careful with my words, but pillage and take over whatever they want. And that's their plan. That's their agenda. And that's what we're exposing. I'm going to show you guys the smoking gun that we have here in the Ripple vs. SEC lawsuit here shortly. It all is tied back. It all is tied back here, folks. Now, let's continue on here. We got something here that confirms that recession I've been talking about. Do you see what I see when short-dated U.S. Treasuries are elevated? What's the market telling us? You look at the 13-week Treasury bill, 1999. We peaked 2007, we got up here. 2020, we went up. And then in 2023, we are above the level that we were at in 2007. And we are on approach to 1999, the rate there on the 13-week Treasury bill. Now, the yield curve inversion that we've seen right here is one of the leading indicators of a recession. It is here. It is happening right now. Mike shares this chart as well. The chart of the short-dated U.S. Treasuries with the S&P 500 overlay indicating short-term peak rates coincide with a stock market top. So a stock market top. Like I've been saying, the recession is coming. The stocks have not bottomed out yet. I don't believe that crypto has bottomed out yet. But nonetheless, we are not in the clear, and we're not going to be heading back up anytime soon unless you're a little XRP token in a different reality, but we'll get into that here shortly. Now, I move on over to Jason Cousins, who is the founder of Glint. I have no affiliation with Glint, but they are nice guys. I did get to sit down with Jason and some of his teammates at dinner in Vegas, and that was a fantastic dinner. But Jason here, building out real utility, building out a real business. I love what they're doing at Glint. But he shares this data right here. Fantastic info from Clay Fink and Tavi Costa. Let me try and break this down for those of you who don't understand phrases like yield curve inversions. Let's break down the key elements. And so you guys are asking, what am I talking about with the yield curve inversion? We're going to talk about it right here. Gold versus equity ratio. This ratio compares the performance of gold against equities. If the ratio is rising, it means gold is outperforming equities. If the ratio is falling, it means equities are outperforming gold. 2, the yield curve inversion. This is where interest rate yield on short-term bonds is higher than the interest rate on long-term bonds. In a normal yield curve, long-term bonds have higher yields to compensate for the additional risk of time. When this curve inverts, it's often seen as a signal of economic uncertainty or upcoming recession. So the phrase, the gold versus equities ratio after yield curve inversions, refers to the observation that after a yield curve inversion, investors move towards gold as a safe haven, thereby increasing the gold versus equities ratio. Now, you go right here and you see the gold to S&P 500 after yield curve inversions. So this shows you what happens after we get that yield curve inversion to the gold and S&P ratio. Now, you look at this chart. The gold and S&P ratio today is this small green one. We are right here. Okay? Now, you guys see where we're at, and you see we have a long ways to go, right? During the 1970 rally that we had after the yield curve inversion, we went up 70%, 72%. And the S&P ratio right here during the 1973 to 74 recession and tech bust, 147%. We are just getting started with a move that is going to be unprecedented, folks, because it's not just a recession after a yield curve inversion and a little rough go about it. This is a reset that we haven't seen in 100 plus years, right? I mean, at least going back to the 50s when we did reset the dollar, we had that big recession, right? And you're going to see, I think, us going up somewhere above this level, or at least very close to. And what does that mean? It means it's going to be a historical rally for gold and silver on the way, right? I can't pin down the exact date this is going to take place, but you can see that it's already started. And so we've already seen this trend in some of the other suppressed assets like XRP as well. You guys know we're going to talk about that here shortly. But as far as gold and silver, the historical trend line takes us somewhere that's very interesting. And what's also interesting about this change is, like I said, you're going through something we haven't seen in 100 years with the currency resets, but you also have gold-backed digital currencies that are being introduced at a time when I didn't pull it up, but the new study, as why is the Shanghai vaults are getting dropped and drained over there, is because of the historical transition in demand for silver in utilities, solar, energy, and others. So, like I said, guys, this is such a setup that is clear as day, but you still have a lot of people that are focused on the most recent meme stock that they can invest in. They're still aping into tech. They're still looking for meme coins to trade. They're still dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and whatever else their program is, right? But a lot of people are going to miss this rally that's going to take place here for gold, for silver, and I'm about to get into XRP as well too. And the train has left the station is not just a meme. It's not just a joke. It's not just something that the 43rd Treasurer of the United States said, Rosie Rios, before she went to join the board of directors at Ripple. It's actually the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. It's not a joke. It's not a meme. I don't just throw that around, right? And it is confirmed here once again. And a lot of folks, they're still trying to say that we weren't in a recession last year, that the recession hasn't started. That's fine if that's how you want to play. But look where we have to go here yet still. We still have a lot left to go, and I hope that you guys have your ducks in a row. We've been talking about this. I'm not here to be your financial advisor, but I show you how I'm preparing, okay? But more on that here later. Let me continue on through the update. So this is exciting stuff here on XRP Ledger, folks. Here we go. So what we have is about 6 different updates and amendments to the XRP Ledger that are being proposed right now as we speak. Now, most of you guys know about XLS30D. That's the automated market makers. That's great. We have XLS33D. We have XLS35D, XLS38D, which we've talked about a little bit so far. That's the cross-chain capabilities. XLS39D in regards to the clawback, and XLS40D, which is into the digital identity. Now, we go through here. You guys see this XRP LAMM automated market maker network available for testing and development. So that's already been proposed. It's already being tested. They're already working on it. The next one here is XLS33D, compact fungible tokens. It looks like they are trying to create another asset. You know, how we used to have IOUs. Now they're just called tokens. What they used to be called, issued assets. And now we have NFTs were introduced through XLS20D. Now they're trying to create something else called compact fungible tokens. And it sounds like this is meant to be kind of like for data or smaller tokens of lesser value. They're trying to create something else that has lower transaction fees. I got to do a further deep dive on this. Now, XLS35D Yuri token. This is about the hooks, V2 and V3 staging net info. And so this is an update to the smart contracts, which are known as hooks on the XRP Ledger. Right now, they're testing that out. Now, 38D, we already talked about this. XRP Ledger sidechains available on new DevNet. So right now, Ledger sidechains are available, and this is going to give you cross-chain capability for the XRP Ledger. You'll have interoperability with basically every other Ledger blockchain. And then we have XLS39D clawback specification. The reason why this is being proposed, you got to consider some banks, some networks, some deals. They're going to need the need or the capability to claw back transactions. Okay, and so this is kind of an interesting little amendment. And I'm going to have to do a deep dive on all of these. But this is all the changes that are coming, guys. And this is absolutely massive here with 40D, decentralized identity on the XRP Ledger. This is a big one, and I wanted to expand on this one further here to just start going through some of these amendments. Just taking a look at this one. Self-sovereign identity defined as a lifetime portable digital identity that does not depend on any centralized authority requires a new class of identifier that fulfills the following 4 requirements: persistence, global resolvability, cryptographic verifiability, and decentralization. The World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, and many people understand and know who that is. Standardized decentralized identifiers are a new type of identifier that enable verifiable self-standards for DIDs, and verifiable credentials are rapidly gaining traction, especially in blockchain-related domains. In this document, we propose to implement native support for W3C DIDs on XRP Ledger. So the W3C's digital or decentralized identifiers on the XRP Ledger. This will be pretty cool. I know a lot of people have been talking about security based off the most recent Ledger scrutiny, right? This type of identity stuff is going to be important to be able to verify that, secure it, and it is all coming to the XRP Ledger. And so further deep dive on the way. We'll break all of those amendments down further, and we're going to track and see where they're at and what stage. Some are in testing, some have just recently been proposed. Some are, well underway in their testing with the DevNets on the side chains. A lot coming to the XRP Ledger, guys, and it's definitely getting me excited because it's all utility and it's all more demand for XRP. Now, with that being said, let's take a look here at what Swift has to say in regards to the Ripple blockchain. This one is shared here by ISO 222. Let's do it. Swift. Ripple blockchain can make interbank payments, while Swift can ensure the exchange of personal data is confidential. Well, we're going to be able to make sure that the exchange of personal data is confidential on the XRP Ledger as well. As I just covered, you got the decentralized identity coming to the XRP Ledger here soon. But here we have Swift, and the original source document wasn't posted here. I would like to see where this came from. But apparently this is a document here from Swift where they are talking with the help of the Ripple blockchain, interbank payments can be made, but the exchange of personal data should be confidential as possible, and only Swift can make a good job of it, said Wim Raymakers, the head of the banking markets division at Swift. Well, they need to get caught up to speed here on the updates to the XRP Ledger because it is coming our way. Now, in regards to other interesting little patents, so people thought that the MoneyGram partnership relationship was over, right? They left Ripple, they left XRP to go work with Stellar XLM, right? Well, apparently they were just awarded this patent, granted it January 31st of 2023 this year, and this patent deals and actually uses XRP as a direct reference within this patent, within this document right here. In this figure 2A, you see the XRP ledger used right there. I know you guys can't really see that too well. Let me see. Oh, there you go. If I can zoom in, right there is the XRP ledger right there where my symbol is at. Okay. So is the partnership over? Do they have future plans to use XRP? Like I always said, I think that MoneyGram was a successful test. And just like many other banks and institutions, they can't go live with XRP until this lawsuit and regulations are clear. And then it's going to be flip that switch on once again because the system's already set. The infrastructure, the pipeline, it's already laid. You just have to turn on the spigot again. And that's literally all this is, right? You just got to flip that switch back on. So it's already there. It's all said and done. And the patent, apparently, they want to use XRP Ledger as an example in that patent as well. Now, this is what we're looking to get into here tonight, folks. If you guys are ready to expose the SEC with me, can you guys do me a big favor? Smash that thumbs up, take a sip of whatever adult beverage you guys got, and let's get into it. Thank you so much for joining me. So this all starts right here. You guys know we're going to get to see the Hinman emails. And Bill Morgan says this: how many of the Hinman emails are cited and included by Ripple in its opposition reply briefs? We get to see these once the briefs with the remaining allowed redactions are filed on June 13th. We wouldn't see those Ripple did not reference and include by reviewing these briefs. I don't see how the public gets to view all the Hinman emails on the 13th of June if they are not included in the summary judgment brief, opposition brief, or reply brief. Now, John Deaton responds. He says, I think they were included but not all referenced in the brief in argument, but I missed this even though I tweeted it out. Read the footnote. Exhibit 220 is part of the SEC emails, and it says that XRP is mentioned and that there are reasonable grounds that XRP does not satisfy all Howey factors. This is absolutely huge. And John Deaton is the one that found this. He says, I can't wait for these emails to be released. I predict even non-XRP holders, including Ripple critics, will have to objectively say that what the SEC did is flat out wrong. The inquiry about the motive behind this lawsuit will go into a higher gear. Mark my words. Now, John Dean puts out this thread here this morning, and he says, read this short thread, please. When you look at all the other SEC lit emails cited in Ripple's opposition, they are redacted. The one about there being reasonable grounds to not believe XRP satisfies all the Howey factors is not redacted. The SEC wanted all statements by SEC staff redacted, and it appears they all were. What this tells me is that the statement about XRP not satisfying Howey is not a direct quote from a senior SEC official, otherwise it would be redacted. I've concluded that the statement was made by a market participant independent of Ripple, not the SEC, but it was referenced by someone in the Hinman emails, or the third-party email was forwarded to Hinman, or the email group discussing the speech. He says, I always want my comments to be based on facts, so I'm making this clarification. Although it isn't a direct quote by an SEC official, it is still damaging as hell because it demonstrates that XRP was discussed. Someone at the SEC passed this XRP opinion to the email group for a reason. Now, folks, we get a article that was put out by this guy, Sam Lyman, and he put out a Forbes article. In my latest piece for Forbes Crypto, I discuss how the ripple effects from this lawsuit could benefit not just the XRP army, but also Coinbase and the industry as a whole. John Deaton responds and he says, there are several reasons the SEC is in this position. First off, the lawsuit was not only about enforcing U.S. securities laws. If it was, the case would have been limited to specific sales made by Ripple, and it would have been settled by now. The lawsuit was used as a weapon with a bad motive. Even Joseph Grunfest, one of the most respected former SEC commissioners alive today, called into question the motive behind filing the case. 2. Ripple assembled one of the best legal teams money can buy, a former chair of the SEC, a former director of corporate finance, a former director of enforcement, a former chief of litigation, a former chief of criminal division, and the best appellate law firm in the country. Justice Gorsuch was there. $200 million was spent for a reason. 3. The SEC never expected the XRP army and 75,000 people coming together. Folks, this is it. This is one of the smoking guns that we have. This case is won. This case is ours for the secondary market. I'm telling you right now, The only thing that they're going to be able to get them on, if they're able to even get them on this, is going to be on the early sales. But it's looking like they are going to have great justification to win on that fair notice defense. If in that emails, like Brad says, we prepare to be shocked when you see these emails, when you see what the SEC did, when you see that they were talking about XRP and that it should have been included in the free speech pass that included Bitcoin and Ethereum, and or they should have never gone after the Ripple case ever, right? Or honed in on those early sales, but they didn't, like John said. This was a weapon against us. Now, when the government wants to go after something, when the mafia central bank army, the little thugs at the SEC that get deployed by JP Morgan and the Wall Street boys, when they want to go after something, why are they doing that? Because it's a threat. It's a threat to the incumbents. It's a threat to the old guard. And that's the power of XRP and Ripple that is contained within this little cryptocurrency. Now, we look at this tweet here by Stefan Huber. OMG, the SEC did not object that XRP is not a security, and Hinman didn't give the speech the SEC wanted him to give. Likely means he should have included XRP in his free speech pass. Jimmy Valley comes in, and he says this could be the case. We should know soon. If XRP was to be included in the speech and Hinman excluded it live on stage, how much more egregious is the SEC's actually filing a lawsuit against Ripple et al. 2 years later? What oath is taken by the SEC commissioners? Jimmy asks. Folks, is it time for me to bust that red folder back out? Was Jimmy Valley right all along? Was this much more than just a buyback? Was it really not even about a buyback at all? Exactly, folks. What we've been saying this whole time is that you have commissioners under oath, and they have failed their duty to the American people. It's not about a buyback. No, it's about saving our country and getting our country back. That's what's taking place right now in this little Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. That's about this little cryptocurrency called XRP. But so much more is at stake. Now, Mr. Huber also adds this. He says, isn't it odd that the SEC and Ripple agreed to delay the disclosure of the Hinman emails until the 13th of June, which is exactly 5 years after Hinman's speech was delivered? Are there any statute of limitations for Hinman to be charged by the public? Now, Jeremy Hogan chimes in and he says, generally, the statute of limitations for something like that is 5 years. 18 USC 3282 cites the case. Jeremy Hogan, thank you very much. And is this part of a settlement? Who knows, right? This is part of a negotiations, potentially because both Ripple and the SEC agreed to do this, right? Both Ripple and the SEC agreed to extend this out another week. Now, I found this one too. Jimmy Valley said this, that Freddie Riz, you guys know the lawyer Fred that we had on the show here, Fred Rispoli, filed 2 lawsuits. The first one was focused on Hinman and Clayton, but he withdrew that one for the time being. So many people don't know, we talked about it on our show. He had 3 ongoing cases. The first one was focused on Hinman and Clayton, but he withdrew that one for the time being. He has another active suit against the SEC for a declaratory judgment that ETH is not a security. That one is in the early stages motion practice. So huge shout out to Fred Rispoli. He also filed a class action lawsuit against Coinbase
about election
so that
rigging
we
or
can
election
get our
interference.
flare, so that we can get our flare back. Right? Now, like Jimmy says right here, we all know this from circumstantial evidence emails from the ethics office, the $15 million compensation from Simpson Thatcher, meetings with Simpson Thatcher, etc. If XRP was in the final approved speech and Hinman omitted it, that's a smoking gun. And it's a smoking gun that all of these people in green would have known about immediately. And they did nothing. Some even profited from it, taking new jobs, etc. And he's talking about the organizational structure and resources at the SEC at the time. Chair Clayton at the top, many other parties involved. The smoking gun is here. We got them, and we're going to be shocked when this finally gets released. And it's so much bigger than just the Ripple versus XRP lawsuit, Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. So much bigger than just the cryptocurrency. XRP Coinbase is going to be able to use this as well. And I think that some people are going to have grounds if they do end up taking this and winning on fair notice defense. Now, where they're not going to be able to take this is if Ripple ends up settling. And if Ripple ends up settling, the rest of the space will not get clarity. And that is what everybody should be worried about. If Ripple ends up settling, not even Ethereum is going to be safe. So what we have here, folks, is victory coming for the XRP army, the secondary market, and those of us that are building on the XRP ledger that are trying to take this thing through the other side of this bear market, this recession. Everybody feeling down, seeing the crypto market moving sideways, and it's getting tough out there. I get it. And everybody's tired of dates, of predictions, when moon, when 589. I get it. I want to build on the XRP ledger too. I'm in talks right now. How do we start building on the XRP ledger? But what we got to see through is this lawsuit that is going to be a victorious case for the secondary markets. In my opinion, it's going to be victorious for Ripple as well. And even if they settle up and have to cut a little check, that's still going to be a victory for Ripple. But the precedent here won't be set for the rest of the space if Ripple cuts that deal, cuts that check, and continues with clarity. They're going to be the ones that are going to be leading the crypto market going forward. That is a big part of why I believe in the XRP ledger, is because you got Ripple getting institutions to build on it. Me and you, Joe Blow, we also get to build our businesses and build our utility on the XRP ledger as well. And as I showed you guys, we have the amendments right now that are going to bring massive utility to the XRP ledger. We have the smoking gun in the lawsuit. This is the perfect storm. This is the stars and the moon and the dates and the decode aligning. Are you going to get left behind? As I showed you guys, the gold to S&P 500 chart. We are at the start of a historical rally that's going to take place for a few chosen, suppressed, and selected assets. What is being selected by the central banks? Working with Ripple, building their CBDCs with XRP, and also gold at a level that we haven't seen in 50 plus years. So when we talk about this generational wealth move that is coming our way, it has already started. The time is ticking. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but take advantage of this opportunity while you can. Well, XRP is still trading sideways at 46 cents and you're bored. While Bitcoin is, while we're watching the Wizards dress up and play cosplay in Bitcoin Miami at their conference, and they're tearing up money and acting like they're getting something done, we see the real players are about to not only win this lawsuit, but expose the SEC, which is part of the three-letter agencies, and the corruption at our government going up to the highest levels, including the Biden crime family, as I started out this episode. While these guys are doing their worldwide tours, talking about how great their program is working, they're talking about how great their program is working because their program is to rug pull America. Their program is to squeeze out the middle class and the poor and to make you slaves and servants to them forever. And the tax incentives and the plan that he showed you guys, what does that do? It eliminates all incentives for you to be an entrepreneur, for you to start a business, for you to invest in real estate, and for you to be able to, take advantage of this new DLT technology, the fourth industrial revolution, by investing in crypto. They want to squeeze us out every chance they can get, and they've started it. And that's why we have an unwinding of the markets that's not been seen in decades. They're debating on recession, and I'm here to tell you that we're going to be debating depression, and we're going to be praying that we survive. You guys are seeing it's already tight. It's already tight. But for us, the program is working. What we are doing, focusing on our businesses, focusing on stacking these suppressed assets, and we are out in the garden, like I said this morning. Finding peace during these times is also very important. Finding community during these times, crucial. If you want to join us in the Discord community, you head on over to my website, zachrector.com. It should be linked up down below. You can buy your precious metals there. We can ship them directly to you. We can roll over your 401k. After you get your precious metals, you can move on over. We have the LEPAL Titan wallet. If you don't trust Ledger, if Ledger's not the program that you want to work with, we have the LEPAL Titan. And all we talk about is options. So we got our options there. Get your cryptocurrency wallets, get your precious metals, and come into the Discord family where we talk about all this together on a daily basis. 365, 24/7. The conversation never ends. The family continues to grow, and I would love to have you guys on over there with us. So with that being said, if you guys haven't already, let's smash that thumbs up on the way out. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future content. I got another exclusive interview coming up tomorrow. Not going to name the name, but just be waiting on that one. It's going to be major. Okay. And with that being said, folks, be ready because we're going to be hosting some Twitter Spaces. I see there's a lot of nonsense going on over there. So we're going to have to make Twitter Spaces great once again. And we're going to be engaging over there as well. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Twitter. Everything else is at my website. And I appreciate all of you guys. God bless you all. Have a great week. Okay, it's going to be a massive one. Take advantage of it. God bless you all.